aircraft is one of the most innovative and incredible means of transportation of the human history. You like it or you hate it. Surely, thanks to the creation of this means, we are now able to travel and fly. The flying technique has been always studied from the greatest inventors of the history, but only in the first years of 20th century the aircraft achieved its real success. All of this was made possible thanks to the demonstrations of the Wright brothers and other air pioneers like Glenn Curtiss or Amelia Earhart. The aircraft became the symbol of the mechanic progress during the 20th century, and over the years, following further modifications, the aircraft became suitable for passengers flights and for dogfights. Following the Third Reich's downfall as conclusion of the Second World War in 1945, it came the need to reach some international agreements regarding states' control of airspace. In 1947, the laws of the Chicago Convention on International Civil Aviation, held in 1944, came into force. During this convention, it was established that states retain their control of airspace above the territory of the state itself and above its territorial waters, whereas the high seas remain under the rules of the Chicago Convention. Moreover, were established the so-called freedoms of the air, which allowed to land and take off from every airport in the world with no custom complications. Another important event of the Chicago Convention was the establishment of the ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization. This agency has its headquarters in Montreal, and it is part of the United Nations. Its role is managing the international air navigation and safeguarding the routes that aircraft must follow in order to have a secure air transportation. A huge review of security protocols was conducted after the terrible attacks of 9/11, and thanks to these new regulations, there has been an improvement of security measures in airports as well as on board. The aircraft returned to be a safe means of transportation, and this was made possible also thanks to the increasing success of rich airlines that are dominating the market of aircraft industry. The three most important airlines come from the Middle East and are Fly Emirates, Qatar Airways, and Etihad Airways, which has also made an important partnership agreement with Alitalia in 2014. This unstoppable growth of these Middle Eastern airlines has developed in the last 20 years thanks to a huge series of loans from sheikhs and royal families of the United Arab Emirates, alongside with important and richest partnership and sponsorship agreements. In Europe, the most important airlines are the very well-known Lufthansa, the traditional British Airways, and Turkish Airlines, which in the last years achieved an excellent level of efficiency and services on board, as well as on the ground. Last but not least are the classic American airlines like Delta or American Airlines. On aircrafts, the jurisdiction always belongs to the state which represents the airline, whereas the country which is overflew has the complete authority on its airspace. If an aircraft does not respect these regulations, it's committing a violation of the airspace. In this case, the sovereign state is authorized to use every possible measure in order to stop the unidentified aircraft, even if the ICAO has taken the position that force should never be used against civilian aircrafts. A terrible case of improper use of force took place in the Soviet Union in 1983, when a passenger flight of Korean Air was shot down by Russian military aircraft. The Korean aircraft, according to Moscow, passed directly over sensitive military installations above Russian territory. In 1996, the International Court of Justice condemned the Soviet Union. Other cases were, for example, the Ustica massacre, one of the darkest pages of our history, full of lies and secrets. In 1980, a DC-9 of Itavia Airlines was shot down erroneously during a dogfight between NATO aircrafts and two Libyan MiG. The consequences of this tragedy were catastrophic. Some officials of the Italian Air Force attempt to mislead investigations, talking about a possible structural failure of the DC-9 or even a bomb on board. Only in 2007, thanks to the collaboration of the French government, it was discovered that the shooting down of Flight 870 was caused by an air-to-air missile fired by a NATO French jet fighter. Other terrible tragedies were the shooting down of Iran Air Flight 665 in 1988, destroyed by a missile fired from American cruiser USS Vincennes, which confused the passenger flight with an Iranian military aircraft. 6 months later was the famous Lockerbie bombing, when Libyan Secret Service set a bomb inside the luggage compartment of Pan Am Flight 103 that was flying to New York City with 240 passengers on board. Some say that this attack was financed by Iranian government in retaliation of Iran Air Flight 665 shooting down. Then there's the recent crash of Malaysia Airlines 17, tragically shot down above the skies of Ukraine by a Buk missile fired by pro-Russian militia in 2014. In conclusion, I would like to say that despite these terrible tragedies, to flight has always been one of the safest activities in the world, especially if we think about the thousands of airplanes that every day take off and land all around the world. So I want to resume my great passion for flying with the mention of Otto Lilienthal, a famous German aviator. To invent an airplane is nothing, to build one is something, but to fly is everything.